Washington. George Washington was born on February 22, 1732 in Virginia, one of the 13 British colonies in America. George's father was a farmer. He died when George was 11 years old. Washington had a little formal schooling, but he read a lot and taught himself about the world. He became an expert woodsman and a surveyor, a person who determines boundaries and areas of tracts of land. George grew to be over 6 feet tall. This was rare in colony times. At age 20, Washington became a soldier in the Virginia militia. In 1753, on his first important mission, he and his 6 men carried a message to the French near Lake Erie, 5,000 miles away, that they must stop settling land claimed by the British. On May 28, 1754, Washington and 160 men unsuccessfully battled in French over British land claims in the Ohio-Pennsylvania region. This day-long fight was the first battle for the French and Indian War, in which the British and colonies fought for the French and Indian. After her battles, Washington became a colonel and a leader of Virginia's militia. The British and other colonies eventually won the French and Indian War. Washington was elected for the Virginia House of Burgesses. In 1758, he married Martha Sudis, a rich girl. In 1758, they lived with their children, Martha. There was Casey and John Jackie Mount Venner, their home in Virginia. George and Martha do not have children. The British taxed the colonists to pay for the French and Indian War, angering the colonists. In Boston, Massachusetts, colonists dumped tea into their harbor in 1773 to protect the exclusive taxes. In 1775, George Washington was appointed commander-in-chief of the colonial army. In 1776, colonists declared their independence from England. The colonists, also called pirates, were poorly trained, barely paid, badly equipped, and outnumbered by the British. Due to the brilliant military planning of Washington and some help from the French late in war, the British defeated after mainly bloody battles. The colonists had gained their independence. George Washington, the Constitution. After war, 13 states struggled to survive under Articles of Confliction. The rules are government adopted by parents in 1777. In 1778, the Americans helped the constitution of the Constitution in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. An order was to write a constitution. George Washington was chosen to lead it. Here comes the important part. The Constitution was eventually ratified by all 13 states in 1788, and it went into effect in 1789. Here comes the really important part. The next step was to set up the new voluntary form of government. George Washington presidency. After the Constitution went into effect in 1789, the electors loosely chose George Washington as the first president of the United States of America. John Adams was his vice president. Washington's first mayor asked to set up a new government, including including the police of state, treasury, and war, and financing the government by collecting taxes. In 1790, the first U.S. census was taken. The population of the U.S. at the time was almost at 4 million people. That's very important. At 1790, the USA was at time almost 4 million people population. In 1791, the Bill of Rights was adopted. The Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. It argues the right of the people. Washington was re-elected president for a second term, but he refused to serve a third term, saying his farewell speech and that longer rule would give one man too much power. Last page. George Washington legacy. After serving 2 terms as president, George Washington returned into Mount Vernon, his home, Virginia, and farmed his land. He died at home on December 14th, 1799. He was 67 years old.